Today we'll be presenting our study on the star that we'll be calling V600, which is in the cluster Pismis 20. For more information on the paper, you can scan the QR code that will be on the last slide. Next slide, please. This is our target, V600, circled in red. This bluish star up here is unrelated, although it might interfere with brightness measurements, but it is much too far away from our companion to be related. Next slide, please.
So, an eclipsing binary is a pair of stars that orbit each other really closely. And as one star passes in front of the other in its orbit, it blocks the light of the second star from Earth perspective, and we view this as a dip in brightness. The figure on the right shows the change of the brightness of the binary as it orbits, which we call a light curve. Now, the graph on the left is a light curve of our target, V600, plotted as magnitude versus phase, or in other words, time on the period. The larger dots show data that we have collected, and the smaller dots show data from the All-Sky Automated Survey for Supernova, or ASSASSIN. We can see that the brightness of the target dips, telling us that one of the stars has moved in front of the other, see diagram on the right, and then rises again as the blocking star moves away. Notice that the shape of V600's light curve is quite similar to the example diagram on the right, and the plot on the right is in fact a typical plot for contact binaries. And based on this similarity in the shape of the light curve, we can classify V600 as a contact binary as well.
Here is the cluster. On the left is a diagram. Each dot on this diagram represents a different star and is positioned based on its color, which is the BP minus RP at the bottom, and its brightness, which is the G on the side of, like, on the right side of the, or left side of the plot. Brightness and color that we observe from Earth will change based on different factors like how far away the star is or how it is moving relative to the Earth, and that will change how the diagram here looks. On the right, you can see what we'd expect for an average cluster. The main sequence, which is the central line, is the most vital thing that we're looking at here, because if you look at our image on the left, you can see two main sequence-like structures. One is fainter and redder, which is circled in purple. That is where the V600 star is located, which is circled in red.
Yes, but to determine whether this purple ghost group actually is a cluster, we need to see it have this distinct grouping or this distinct peak of range of proper motions. But even though we do see these two groups as like visually separated on this color magnitude diagram, those actually don't match up with the stars' directional motion. What we did here is that we colored the stars based on these two peaks you see in the directions of their motions. And as you can see here, there's actually significant overlap between the purple and orange. This basically means that there are pros and cons to this two cluster hypothesis, or that the ghost group is actually a cluster. The evidence for being that there's this visual separation based on color and magnitude, and the evidence against being that in these two groups, the stars are just moving all over the place. There's no directional distinctness between them.
Right, so why does our research matter? First off, analysis of variable stars allow astronomers such as ourselves to study various parameters about the stars involved, namely things like mass, radius, luminosity, temperature. Structure is a very important one, especially in these weird physical systems that binary stars are often part of. And also this provides valuable insight into stellar evolution, since observing variable stars involves taking lots of observations of stars of various types. Research in the clusters, especially clusters like Pismis 20, which are relatively young, only 6 megayears, will also give insight into cluster formation and how those evolve. Yeah, thank you for listening. Here's the QR code if you want to learn more about a paper.